Hello and welcome back to Tabletop Dub Shot, a live-action D&D game with all baristas. I am Renee, your dungeon master, and with me is Bela,
Valentina,
PE,
Bucca,
and Jordan.
Pierce.
Last we left off, our friends have made their way back to the city of Alcor in time for their best friend Weaver's coronation to the crown. In this time, Val has had a face-to-face meeting with one of her father's business partners, Gilmore. Pierce finally got to meet up with the Lanterns and got to meet one of his father's old co-workers, Helena, and let him know that a formal interview will take place the morning after the coronation. And as we finally arrive at the morning of the coronation, Bucca has finally made his way into the castle walls for the first time in almost 5 years. Castle walls shake as fireworks are lit up in the sky to start the coronation day officially as the sun peeks out.
You clown.
And we will start with, let's start with Bucca. So at this point, you have already made your way into the actual castle walls. There is this big firework display to kind of indicate the start of the morning, the day of. But at this point, you have kind of been left to your own devices. You have already left the cart that you made your way in with. And from there, you kind of have free reign in this weird early hour, kind of like this pre-dawn, as you are probably the first person that, being awake and not having slept at this point, at least within the group, you're the first person that's up at this hour.
Nice. Can I just say what rude awakening it is to have to wake up to fireworks in the morning? So sorry, everybody else.
So early in the morning, too.
Extremely early. I believe I tried to make my way towards the stables, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. I'm gonna make my way towards them. I think by doing that, I'm hoping to maybe pick up or look around for some stable hand uniforms or gear that I can kind of disguise myself with.
Yeah. Go ahead and roll. Go ahead and just roll a perception or investigation check. We'll just call it a DC 10.
Perfect. Yeah. 15.
15. Cool. As you make your way into the stable, you see it's kind of been stained with like mud and just muck and some other various things, but you see basically just stable hand clothing that it'll fit you like a little bit probably tight around like the torso area, just because even though you're so like thin, you are so like tall still. And so, but you do find some clothes that you're able to like quickly kind of put on.
I'm going to, what is nearby? Do I grab a saddle blanket from one of the nearby stalls? Perfect. I'm going to carry that with me. I'm going to hide my weapon underneath it as I'm walking through the rest of the palace of the castle.
Yeah, perfect. As you are walking, what is like your pace as you are starting to make your way in?
Mm-hmm.
And also,
Oh,
is there a
man.
specific place that you're trying to head to at this time?
Yeah, I think I'm going to head towards the general workers kitchen side cafeteria. You know,
Yeah, perfect.
everybody eats and everybody takes their breaks.
Yeah, perfect. It's kind of like a mess hall almost.
Mess hall, yeah.
And you're at this point where it's still early enough that at least the workers that are helping with the preparation for the coronation, like you already see some movement. This is probably going to be the group of people that's awake the earliest out of anybody in the castle. And as you start making your way there, you are holding on to this like the blanket that you would put underneath like a saddle. You start making your way there. You get into like this kitchenette area and you see there's probably about like 7 to 8 people, and you can already tell that they're starting to like prep food and kind of get everything ready for today's festivities.
Amazing. I'm going to kind of creep my way in a little bit so as to maybe not disturb anybody's conversation. I believe by getting into the mess hall, I kind of remember, and then memories come back to me of what part of the castle this is in and where I should be going.
Yeah. And then as you're looking around, this is probably the part of the castle that you as a child spent the most time in, because this is where your mom would have been working. And so, from where you are, it is like pretty centralized. At this point in time, you are not quite in like the second level of the castle walls, but you are in this like intermediate spot because you're near some staircases that do lead further up. And so you kind of do have some freedom in which way you can go. Heading upstairs from where you are now, you can either head more to where like the rooms and some of the housing is, or more where like the armory and where a lot of like the barracks would be.
Perfect. Ooh, let's head towards the. Ooh, okay. Do I know what the normal armor and uniform of like palace guards look like?
Yeah, 100%.
Perfect. Are they identity hiding if I were to get into a uniform?
It wouldn't be uncommon for like a helm to be put on.
Perfect. Perfect. I'm going to make my way towards the armory.
Cool. Yeah, let's do it. As you start making your way up, you start walking past like some bodies as they're also starting to get ready. But at this point in time, the barracks don't actually like ever fully like close down for the night as there's always like turns being done. But as you start walking in, you walk past one of the doors that leads into like the actual barracks where everyone rests and sleep, and you're able to walk past and probably another 100 feet down is when you see this series of like steel doors, like where you can actually be locked from the inside for like safety,
Hmm.
but that leads to like the armory where literally armor and weapons are held.
Perfect. Perfect. I do a quick 360 spin around, make sure there's nobody nearby. And I kind of want to quickly shuffle through the uniforms and see if anything could fit me. I don't know if I've ever seen a tabaxi guard in the palace, but I'm hoping
Yeah.
that they have some tall boys somewhere.
Yeah. Go ahead in the meantime, go ahead and roll a perception check.
Oh, that is going to be a dirty 20.
With a dirty 20, you look around and before you even walk in, you make sure that like no one is like taking around as you walk in. And so you don't see anybody. You finally walk in and lined up in different sections are literally because you have different kinds of races that do partake as like the armed guard of the castle. And so it honestly, as you walk in on the far left hand side, is series of like armors, and it is broken down into height. So as you first walk in, you see a lot of the dwarvish and gnomish sized armor immediately to the left. And as you start making your way down, you start to notice as the armor progressive gets larger, you see armor that kind of does fit probably somebody more of your size and height.
Let's freaking go. Okay. I'm going to grab a set that looks like it could fit me and sneak into the locker room.
But you put on armor and it does fit you a little loose. It's not like to the point where like it's gonna fall off, but it's designed for someone of your height, but it's probably also built for someone that's a little physically larger than you. And so it fits well like in the shoulders, but the full torso area is just like open air.
Can I shove a towel up there so then that way it like at least it's not banging around or moving around on me?
100%. Yeah, yeah, you're able
Perfect.
to like stuff like two towels just to kind of like fill the space
Yes.
a little bit. I'll
My
say
V
at this
cut is
point in
so
time.
vicious right now.
I'll say it this time. It's probably I'll say probably closer to 7 in the morning, just in the time it took you to kind of like walk sneakily and making sure that you're not raising too much suspicion. As
Mhm.
this is happening, you start to hear movement and a lot more like armor. And so it's only like a few doors down, but you start to hear a lot of different like soldiers start to put on their armor.
Perfect, perfect. From my time the in the palace, in the castle, and combined with my time that I spent watching guards for the past week or so, am I going to get caught right now or do I think that I could play along?
I go ahead and roll go ahead and roll a performance check for me.
Okay. Why am I only
I'll let you do performance or deception.
okay. Okay. I got a 6.
I'll say 6. 6, so this you haven't done anything yet.
Yeah.
With a 6, you're just unsure. You're
Okay.
unsure, like, you feel
Whew.
confident enough, like, wearing the armor, like, you know it's physically guarding your identity,
Mhm.
but you're unsure if you will be spotted as someone that isn't part of one of the regiments, basically.
Perfect. I'm going to I think I'm not gonna leave it to chance. I'm gonna sneak. I'm gonna sneak out the back of the
Okay.
barracks, hopefully, and pretend to copy one of the routes that I used to watch the guards do as when I was a kid. Assuming nothing's changed, I'm gonna pretend to do the same old walk around on the inside of the palace that I've seen happen time and time again.
Yeah, yeah. Are you just taking, like, a route?
Yeah, I think I'm just gonna go for. I'm just gonna go for it. Let's
Yeah.
let's take a walk.
At this point, go ahead and roll me another performance or deception check.
Big money, big money, big money. Oh, yeah. That is a 23.
23. As you start tracking, you're able to like start to see in these like long hallways and stretches in the castle walls. You start to like, see some of the guards are also still doing their normal routes. And you find yourself in this middle step where you're far enough behind a guard ahead of you that you're able to keep tabs on them, randomly as you start turning down certain hallways. But you're still far enough back that you wouldn't like raise suspicion or you wouldn't really be seen or heard unless they fully stopped.
Perfect. That's the sweet spot, baby. I'm sitting there and I'm biding my time. That's what I'm doing for the rest of the morning. Oh
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, at this point you still have another 4 or 5 hours before the coronation even starts.
Perfect.
As we finish up there, the next person that would probably be awake, probably at this 6 a.m., 7 a.m. time is Pierce. Pierce, you wake up in your childhood bed.
Oh man, I think Pierce is just feeling. I don't know. I think he probably would have slept there at least a night when he was home previously, but wouldn't have probably been the best night of sleep.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah,
think Pierce
and I'll
last
say at
night.
this point yeah, I was gonna say I'll say at this point too, you've also been back already for a couple days.
Yeah, but I think in combination of like, I mean, my time in the military, I'm sure we didn't have the most comfortable beds, and then the last time I got to sleep on my own, it probably wasn't the greatest. So I think the last few nights have been some of the best sleeps I've had for a while.
You wake up and you don't smell food, but you start to smell like coffee. Smell of coffee kind of like fill the room already.
Cool. I think I'm assuming my room's upstairs.
Yeah.
Cool. So I head down, see my mom making coffee. I think knowing myself, I probably wouldn't be able to start my day without doing some kind of physical activity or workout. So I think I'll pass on the coffee at first and just like let my mom know that I'm gonna go on a run, and then I'll be back to have coffee and breakfast.
Yeah. As you go downstairs, you see by the like this almost like a pot of coffee. Next to it is a note that just reads from your mom. It just says, Pierce left a little early, had to run some errands. Be back in time for the coronation. See you soon, Mom.
Oh, I think I would shower and change. Not into what I'm gonna wear for the coronation quite yet, but just something to kind of relax in the house for a little bit, have coffee to eat. I don't think, being that my mom's not even there, I don't think I would around that long.
Yeah.
Probably, I mean, knowing that she's not going to be late for anything as far as the coronation, probably just enough time to eat and have the coffee, and then I'd kind of go roam around a little bit and planned on being back at the house about 2 hours before the
Yeah.
coronation, so then I can then go with my mom.
Yeah. As you step out, you notice a note on the ground.
Sorry, can you say that again? You cut out.
As you step outside, you notice a note on the ground.
Another note. Okay, pick it up and I'll
Yeah.
read it.
The note just reads, really enjoyed our conversation from the other day. Excited for your interview tomorrow. Wishing you best of luck, Helena.
Oh, that's nice. I mean, I'm already on my way out, so I'll pick it up and put it in my pocket.
And at this point, Pierce, you kind of have to randomly, like as you're walking, kind of head up for you'll be in certain hallways, and you kind of have to like move yourself to the side as like randomly you'll see attendants and different workers bringing like massive tables, or you'll see them carrying boxes or like lots of things that seem to be in preparation for the coronation in a few hours. And so at this point, as you look out, because you would have good access to like the central courtyard on that like second tier where like all the housing is, and you already see that a lot of tables have been set up, or tables and chairs, sorry, have been set up with kind of viewing towards the actual main tower.
Okay, cool.
So that's even from last night. Like none of that stuff was there. So you already know some of that stuff has already prepared in the meantime.
Man, they start early.
They start early, they have to have everything ready.
True. I think my roaming would head in the direction of where I think my mom might be running errands, with kind of my fingers crossed that I run into her. Otherwise, I'll be headed back to the house to meet up with her anyways.
Yeah. Go ahead and roll an investigation check for me.
I think he should roll for being a good son and wanting to join his mother on her errands.
Yeah. Yeah, what do you roll for that?
That's survival.
Is that is that survival? Is that I think that's nature.
Nature versus nurture.
Yeah.
You said investigation, right?
Investigation.
I got a 15.
15. You start looking around and you end up catching your mom as she's like leaving there's like a door that opens and you recognize it. It's one of like her old friends from like even from when you were a kid, and she sees you walking like kind of in that same general direction. Just looks and like, oh, Pierce, what are you doing over here?
Hi, Mom. I saw your note and I had my coffee and ate and figured I'd had some time to kill. So I'd wander around, and if I ran into you, I ran into you. Otherwise, I was just going to meet up back with you at the house anyways.
Yeah, no, Talia. No, she had asked me to sew up one of the dresses that she's gonna, or sew up the dress that she's gonna wear for today. So with you being in town, I honestly fully forgot to return it. So
Oh, yeah, makes sense. Well, hi.
are you
Good
heading
morning.
back, or is there anything you were gonna do?
No, I had nothing specific that I needed to pick up or get. I'm all set, just killing time.
Aw.
Yeah, we still have a couple hours, but honestly, we should probably start getting ready soon, just because we're gonna want to at least try to get like, a good seat for everything that's gonna for the coronation today.
Yeah, of course.
Cool. You guys start heading back. Val, a few hours after that,
Lovely.
you are finally awake.
Beauty sleep.
Not by choice.
No, at this point, you just hear like at some point earlier in the morning, you had heard like a very kind and gentle kind of like rapping at the door. And then about 20, 30 minutes later, like a little bit more of insistent knocking. And at this point in time, the door just fully opens as attendants start to come and they just open the drapes. Bright sunlight comes in.
Good morning to you guys too. I see that we don't appreciate sleep in this household. Good to be back.
Yeah, well, good morning to you. You see, like, as one of the attendants is starting to get clothes out for you. It is 10 o'clock in the morning. You have been asleep for 10 hours. So we figured that was enough rest. And also, the coronation is going to be starting soon. So we figured we should get you ready for the day.
The sun is still out, but I guess I'm awake now. Let's get started and get ready, I guess.
They get you ready, and then they pull out like just the most uncomfortable looking dress that just is not like material that you enjoy, is not like a fit that you enjoy, but it is just a very formal, presentable kind of like outfit.
Mhm.
And then they just fully just like basically it's like just too tight as they like just zip it up.
The dress looks like it wants you to conform to societal norms.
We don't want to
Uh,
conform to societal norms. Is there any way we can't loosen this like an inch or two?
as you're saying that, they were like pulling at your hands, like walking you like outside.
Oh, good. Breathing is optional today. Thank you.
You start making your way out, and you see that your parents are already gone for the day. They've headed somewhere this morning, but you see that Hicks looks at you and just says, Miss Kondo, you ready for today?"
As ready as I'll ever be. Where did my parents go?
That they said that they had just an important meeting before the coronation and didn't want to cut it too close. So they said they would be meeting us there, but it's an exciting day. This is your best friend's coronation.
The one that I haven't spoken to in like 5 years. Very exciting. Who works on a holiday? Why are they working on this day?
You know, the meetings take place when they're going to take place. So
And they told you nothing else other than important meeting.
that's all they told me.
All right, what's on our plans? What we got to do today?
Okay, well, coronation starts in an hour. And so, but at this point in time, people are probably already starting to head up towards the top ring, which would just be like the upper part of like the castle. And you see, he says, starting to head over to the top ring. And so we should probably start making our way there just because it honestly is just going to get bottlenecked if we don't start going soon.
That's fair. Is there any way to like, I can't bring anything with me in this dress. There's no pockets, I assume.
No, you can bring a bag. We can have an attendant carry a bag for you.
I mean, I guess. But I meant I want it. You know what, it's fine. We can just leave. As long as can you cut something off of this so I can breathe just a little bit?
You look so wonderful.
Thank you so much. Let's just head out.
And you guys start heading out. As we start nearing this point in time, obviously we're doing like quick little time skips just because there's only like so much stuff that's happening. For Bucca, you know, at this point, there's also a lot more bodies around, but all of them seem to be kind of ignoring all the guards because, you know, the guards are running their routes and people kind of don't pay them heed or mind. And they have started making their way towards the top ring.
Awesome. Do I see the pathway in which I'm probably gonna have to take to get to Weaver's room?
Yes, you start to see basically at this point, as it starts getting to the hour-ish before the actual coronation's scheduled to start, you do start to notice almost like not a full wave because so basically at this point from what you've seen, there is because you are close to like where like the housing and like the barracks are in that courtyard area, you do see that seating has taken place, but you also do notice not as many people. Like some people are like waves are coming into this central courtyard area, but you do see a smaller group of people heading towards like a staircase or a pathway that leads to like the top ring. So
Okay.
not as many people seem to be invited to that top ring, it seems. And so right now you're currently within a kind of sea of people as you are just even though you're doing your route, you're kind of like walking past people, but you do see like the occasional person kind of like or like couple or group of people seem to like slip away towards like the top ring.
Amazing. As I pass by Oscar again, I've named him Oscar in my brain. I'm gonna be like, "Hey, are you on this detail all day, or are you headed up to the upper ring?"
Like he kind of like stops a little bit just like for like a minute chat.
Mhm.
No, I'm staying here, but you know that still he kind of points up. So kind of a good view for the coronation. So
Yeah, it is a good view. Have you worked the one before this? How long have you been on this route?
you see like just Peach Fuzz, such a young like half orc. No,
Yeah.
I've just been on this route for 2 years. So
Dang.
I'm 24. So I just
Yeah, I reach for his arm and go, "Dude, you could have fooled me." I start like grabbing his arms to compliment him on his body.
you see like a hurt look on his face. He says, "You think I'm old?"
No, I think you're experienced, bro.
They, I'm in a relationship.
I you I
I
didn't well,
I
you
I
know,
I can't. And he like you see he
okay.
turns away. He turns his face away and then just starts to like walk away. Like, I'm sorry.
Is he
We
blushing?
should
Is he
we should
blushing?
go ahead and roll a perception check for me.
Damn it. It's an 8.
8. He hides his face too quickly.
Dang it.
Oh
Well,
my
I've successfully built a strong relationship and destroyed it in 3 hours. So I'm gonna make my way to the upper ring.
Beautiful. Go ahead and roll for this one. I'm gonna have you roll a stealth check.
Okay.
So I'll say it's gonna be a flat roll.
Mhm.
You normally have disadvantage because you are going in armored, but there are, even though it's not a massive group of people, there still is like a large enough number of people heading in that direction that you can kind of like
Yeah.
slip your way in. So I'll say that it's just a
Mhm.
flat roll.
Yeah. Just kind of hiding in plain sight. Ooh. Oh mama. I'm gonna take all that luck from the first episode. I'm gonna save it for now. I got a 26.
26, baby.
Wow.
Great roll. Yeah, you are able to, and I'll say that there seems to be almost like a shift change start to happen. So no one has walked out yet, but you do notice like a group of 8 or 9 guards have started kind of making their way towards that top area, and you're able to almost like in lockstep just fall behind them. And so, especially with like the armor clinking, like no one really hears you, as well as like there's so much like talking and movement. There seems to be like just a buzz and an energy as we're finally on Coronation Day, and you're able to slip in and you do go to this top ring where it's the entire keep in castle or the entire castle, sorry, is already like beautiful, like stonework. There's banners and things like that. But as you enter this top ring, you see like there's a lot more like decor everywhere. As you notice gold inlays and like some of the stonework. And as you kind of reach this more central courtyard for the top ring, you also do see like, a beautiful statue, and you also see like a difference in like the seating where like the lower levels seem to have very just normal kind of seats. These ones seem to be a little bit more like comfortable, cushy seats. You do see some forms like these like arcane, not quite like a gazebo, but it's kind of like this like floating sheet that seems to block part of the sun. And so it just kind of floats in the air as it's just perfectly covering the sun.
Oh,
And so
yeah.
you already notice like a small but very noticeable difference in
Yeah.
the
The air is slightly cooler up here, which is weird because we're closer to the sun. I don't know how science works. I fight the urge to sit down because those chairs look oh so comfortable and I've been walking for 3 hours. I'm going to try to make my way over to the side of the keep of the inner ring or of the upper circle where I can set myself up to sneak up to the rooms.
Go ahead. For this one, go ahead and roll me a perception check. This would be a part of the castle this is probably the part of the castle you're least familiar with.
Okay. I got 10.
A 10.
Yeah.
You're looking around. You're just kind of like looking around for what's the good access point, basically.
Okay. So I'm just looking. I'm frozen. I post up next to the walkway as if I'm guarding the walkway.
Cool. And I'll say in the meantime, you'll use this opportunity to take a look around. Very cool. We're going to cut back to Pierce. Pierce, at this point, you have started to head up, and part of just, your father's still kind of, not reputation, but part of like the position that he had held. Your mother had already told you that you guys have a place to sit in the top ring.
Oh, very cool. I guess as far as getting up there, I'm assuming there's multiple exits and entrances to this area.
For like the top ring?
Yeah.
There's 2. It's basically on each like end of the castle.
Cool. As we head in, I guess I'm at this point just kind of following my mom because I'm assuming she knows where she's going.
Cool. Yeah. You start going upstairs, and at this point, you are in your formal military attire, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah. You go in, and as you and your mom are making your way up, you finally like walk past some people. You get to this top level of the keep that kind of leads to a very small courtyard where you do notice these very comfortable looking seats, and then on like each corner of this courtyard, you notice like a statue, like a bronze statue of various figures of Numerian history, including like one of them is Weaver's grandfather. And so like a man that at this point has already passed away, but like was the king at the time of the start of the peaceful era for Sullivan in general, but especially for like Numir, like a very time of plenty. So you notice these beautiful statues, slightly larger than life, standing probably at like 9 or 10 feet tall. And then in the stonework, you notice like this beautiful gold inlay. And you notice that people are dressed extremely formally and extremely well. You've been around enough soldiers that this is the opposite of that.
Yeah.
And so, but you see that your mom starts to lead you to like some seats that are off to like in the kind of like the back left corner of where all like the seatings seem to be, and just says like, yeah, like we have some seats reserved. So, and you see starts kind of like shimming past some people. Go ahead and make a perception check.
Boy, here we go. Nice. My perception is it's non-existent. 18.
18.
I rolled an 18 and I got an 18.
The fact that you had nothing to perception is haunting to me. But you start to look and you see like she's looking around. Doesn't seem to have caught you or your mom walking in yet. But you see Helena there standing. And at this point, she is like this very tall woman. You could tell that her hair has been done really ornately, similarly to like the braids that she had when you first saw her, and hair pulled back. But you notice that at this point, there is a blue and black flower. Her flowers have kind of been like pinned and tied in like along her hair. And she is dressed in full plate with her like sword at her side, and just seems fully like her war like fit is also her formal fit. For her, there is no other.
Right.
The hair being done was like the extent of it. But you see that she is standing close to like where the tower is. There's like a small section where like Weaver will like step out from, and so she is standing like directly underneath it. So she's at ground level where you are, and then about like 15-20 feet up is kind of like that platform.
Okay. I guess a quick question for what I'm wearing. I feel like the only other time that I've probably worn this uniform, I'm thinking for some kind of military event, and a sword would have been part of it. I'm assuming I don't have that because I would not be permitted it.
I feel like a sword would be part of like your like formal wear.
Okay. I assumed that there'd be one. I just wasn't sure.
Yeah, just because I wouldn't see it differently. Like typically when you have that, it's a ceremonial sword, but you don't own a ceremonial sword. You own your sword, and so I think it would just make sense.
I think Pierce has 2 swords that he just wears for ceremonies.
It's kind of crazy because he has 2 swords, one at each hip, 2 on the back.
Yeah.
And then one in his hand.
Great sword standard.
Yeah. And he also brought his horse for some reason. I don't know.
But he still chose to jog there.
Yeah.
You guys hear the gentle as the horse finally makes its way.
Jeez. I guess so we're, shimming past people to get to our seats, and I spot Helena. You said we were in the back corner, so am I close enough, or are our seats close enough to the edge that it would be easy for me to kind of slip out and go greet Helena really quick before fully sitting?
I'll say yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I'll say that you clock her like as you guys are starting to go sit down, and you can like let your mom know that.
Cool.
Like before you guys fully sit down.
Yeah. As I approach her, would I be coming from a direction that she would see me coming?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
You see as you start making like way towards her, you see that she immediately locks, and then like she doesn't look like upset, but you could tell she has like a very like serious. She's
Mhm.
looking around, just kind of being very vigilant. And as soon as she sees you, just like a small like smile forms on her face, and just says, "Pierce, good to see you in your armor."
You as well. Good morning.
Yeah, this. And she kind of like looks around. As she's talking to you, she makes eye contact with you, looking around, eye contact with you, looking around, and just says, "I honestly don't really love these events. This is as much of getting dressed up as I'll permit them, but
Understandable. I think this is the second time I've worn this.
it's so uncomfortable. I
Third.
hate these formal
Third.
events.
Yeah. It's not the most. I feel like I'm forced to move in a certain way.
I feel so rigid. The fact that, and she kind of like as she's looking at everybody, the fact that this is normal for some of these people is absolutely shocking to me.
Yeah, to each their own, I guess.
Yeah, I was like, how am I more fluid in my armor than you are wearing your silk and satin pants? It just doesn't. It doesn't make sense to me. But
No, not at all. Well, glad to spot you before the coronation. I'm gonna go grab my seat with my mom, but just wanted to see you real quick.
yes, afterwards, I don't know if you have plans. There's gonna be a lot of celebrations, so definitely join in on those. But catch me after the coronation. We can do a little chat before. I know we had said we're doing your interview tomorrow, and so let's just chat a little bit. So give you kind of like what to kind of expect for tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll come find you when I get a
Okay.
chance.
Perfect. And then you see that she looks over and then just says, "No, no, 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 not no horse, no horses." And as she kind of like goes over, as you see, like some people have brought in like these like, very fancy prancing horses, and some have made it all the way throughout like the castle. And you see that she's just like, "No, no, no horses," as she like goes and like tries to like stop them from like fully coming into like the top ring.
Can I go for like the handshake, like a military, like I don't know what to call it.
I'm telling you, man, you guys can just go full predator, just
Yeah,
handshake, just
what I
forearm
was
to forearm. Yeah.
That's what I was.
Yeah,
I
she's
feel like
just
it'd be her style.
yeah, 100%. As she's like, no, no horses. As she shouts out, she like looks at you and she says, "I have to go handle this before the event start. I'll see you afterwards." And then she like reaches out her hand for you to shake.
And I go for it and just kind of give. I know she's got to go do stuff, so I just kind of give a head nod with the shake and go find my seat.
So such a strong woman. And then you go and sit down. For Val, you finally make your way and you are being led up towards like the top ring. And you start seeing people dressed very similarly to the way that you are. And so you start to see some like faces that you kind of recognize just from your childhood. And it was people that your parents were involved with, or just families that were kind of like in similar circles when it comes to finances and business and things like that. But you're led to this area of this seating that even though it's almost, midday and the sun is beaming down, you're brought into this beautifully shaded area. And as you look up, you see this billowing sheet that seems to be attached. Like, go ahead and roll an arcana check for me.
Not a -1, a
Ooh.
14.
A 14. I'll say
Yeah.
even with a 14, you've seen similar things just because this would be a very rich parent thing at events. And then you see that you have these rich families and like very wealthy people, and you have their attendants that are standing, they're not sitting down, but are standing close by. And you see that Hicks has on this kind of like a bracelet almost. And there you see there's like this small arcane, almost like a fishing line that leads from there to this sheet that is providing shade to like the area that you and your parents are going to be sitting at.
So he's part of like a float, necessarily like a Macy's Thanksgiving Day float. For
He's Snoopy.
He is the guy that holds down Snoopy.
Okay.
Oh my goodness.
You can tell like it's a convenient, wealthy thing to have.
Mm.
So is this part of like the coronation package that my parents bought, or is it because they were invited to buy with this extra?
Go ahead and roll an intelligence check for me. I think you have a
They
minus
sold them
one.
on-
I think you have a -1 to this, but
He
Wait,
sold them on the VIP package.
yeah, I do have a -1. One.
You're kidding. Oh no.
What?
hey, listen.
You don't know.
All you know, Hicks is always prepared.
Mm, yeah.
That guy.
You find that your parents are already seated.
I go to my parents. Did you see this kite thing in the sky? This is crazy.
It's good to see you, Valentina. Yes, of course, this is part of the premium package. No expenses spared here.
You paid to see my childhood best friend become queen. I'm pretty sure she would have invited us.
They like look at each other. You know, we didn't think about that. But nonetheless, the premium package, we got a steal on it.
I hope so. Where would we be sat within like the crowd and like close to an exit or like where's
You
the
guys,
premium seats?
your seating is closer to the front, more towards the right. It is close to the entrances that you came from. So at this point, you had come from like we'll just call it the east entrance, and then Pierce, you had come in from like the west entrance because it's the part that is just physically closest to the housing.
Mm.
And so, but you had just come in from the east side because this seems to be like where the VIP kind of section is, as well as it's also physically the closest to the central tower.
Okay. I think I asked both of my parents, how was the meeting this morning? Who are you meeting with?
We had a meeting with Gilmore. We had some last minute just preparations that we have. We're investing in a mine in Oxa. And so he was walking us through some of the paperwork. Very boring, but he is heading out after the coronation. And so instead of rushing things post coronation, it just seemed beneficial and just convenient. And then we didn't really have time after the festivities from the night before.
Hmm. Making you work on a holiday. You guys never take a rest.
Listen, we do what we can for our family. So
All right. I think I just sit and just look and to see if I can see any familiar faces that are more familiar than just. I think my parents talked to you once and made you guys like buy something from us.
yeah, go ahead and roll a perception check for me. Are you like looking back and like looking for people, or just kind of like turning your head and kind of like
I don't think I can move in fully in the thing that I'm wearing to look back.
you
So,
feel like an odd like, oh, this is gonna tear. This is not good.
but I kind of want it to tear though, right?
Hey, listen, whatever you want to do, I'm here for it.
What was I rolling for?
Perception, please.
Okay. Oh, dirty 20. I
Dirty
think I
20.
want to like turn just so it like rips just a little bit so I can breathe a little bit more.
You feel like it's not quite a tear, but you like hear and feel like the seams start to like pull and break a little bit, and it's that sound of like cloth tearing, but it's not fully just ripped at this point. At this point, because it is like a decent amount of seating, probably about 30 to 40 feet away from you, as you kind of like just turn your body to the left, you do see Pierce. At this point, he is talking to this woman, this blonde woman in like full plate armor.
Does she look uncomfortable?
With your roll, 100%.
I think with seeing like this important lady and also being really, really petty that I wouldn't say anything or approach Pierce just because he didn't reach out to me. Why would I reach out to him type of vibe?
Yeah.
So
Oh,
I'll peep it, but not really do anything about it.
Yeah, as you're peeping this, you start to hear like the as like somewhere nearby you hear like just these like massive like Clydesdale like size horses come in, and you see that the woman that Pierce is talking to, you see starts like waving, and all you hear is no horses, no horses, and it just shakes Pierce's hand, and you see runs towards the people that are bringing in these like horses, as these like foreign dignitaries come in dressed in a lot of like reds and browns, as they are just walking in with like horses.
They brought horses. Hicks, we should have brought the horses.
Red looks over. I mean, we could have, but how about we
I
don't?
mean, but it would have been fun.
No horse wants to be here right now. I'm no horse wants to be doing this.
You could have attached the kite to his like the horse.
You see like a look of realization. Yeah, I guess I could have. Oh, well, too late now. Next
Always
coronation.
thinking.
Next coronation. I like that.
Next coronation.
It
Like 200 years?
200. How long do you think Weaver is going to live?
Forever. She's
Forever.
never gonna die. Weaver's an immortal. Welcome to her realm.
You see, as you have this conversation, that this woman that you don't recognize goes and runs off and kind of has to like guide these people to like these dignitaries to like sit their seats, but kind of keep the horses off to the side.
Sounds good.
Yeah, beautiful. Buka, as all of this is happening, go ahead and roll a perception check.
Perception. Nice. 16.
16. As a lot of this stuff is happening, you're kind of like looking for kind of like a way in. And so at this point, from getting from the middle ring to the top ring, there are two entrances in. As you are kind of like looking for a way in, you do see that there's only like one kind of like principal way in to get to like this like top area of like the actual tower itself. And so you see maybe about 50 to 60 feet ahead of you, you see it's kind of hard. She's kind of hard to miss because she's wearing like such bright plate. You see this like tall woman, she's probably about your height, like is having a conversation with a soldier. And you see at some point goes and runs off the side as these you see like as all this is happening simultaneously, you start to see like horses being brought in, but you do see that there is one less set of eyes as she makes her way away from like that entrance. So she's not quite at the entrance itself, but
Mhm.
she is like a few steps away.
Yeah, yeah. I think I'm gonna walk around the seating area calmly, as if I am looking out for danger. I am doing my job, my due diligence. I'm gonna walk towards that staircase, and as I'm passing by people, I'm just giving them nods of like, "Hello, good morning, good morning."
But as you're doing this, go ahead and do a stealth check with advantage. Go ahead and tell me what you roll. You are at this point at this top ring. Not everybody that is in this group, and like even you with the untrained eye, know that there's people from like different nations currently at the coronation. And so they wouldn't know what a guard's supposed to be doing. And so, what did you
Perfect.
roll?
15.
15. I'll say with a 15, you start making your way towards the actual tower and you start making your way up. You look around and you do notice two sets of guards. They're a little too far away, but you do can tell that they did clock you making your way up, but it doesn't seem like anybody else has. And
Mm,
so, but at this point, by the time they even get to you, if they choose to pursue, you're already in.
perfect. I'm gonna keep walking, and I think as I pass the soldier that was talking to the lady, I just say morning,
Yeah,
and I keep
and
walking
and
up.
well, and then for her too, well, because you basically came in directly, and then she went that way, so
Yeah.
you fully just bypass her. You don't even have to.
Oh, is the soldier that she was talking to still in the walkway or no?
Oh, at this point, no.
No. Oh, perfect. I say
I'm
hello
I'm,
to
ass-
no
I'm
one
assuming Pierce
as I
wouldn't have
walk
just.
by.
I'm assuming Pierce wouldn't have stayed up there,
No.
No, I think I imagine Pierce standing there, just
just
watching her
awkwardly.
walk away.
In
Just be
front
like,
of everyone because I love
yeah,
the
yeah,
Hey,
hey.
panic attack. Panic attack sets in. Jesus Christ. Oh, okay.
I think I clocked those. I clocked those two guards noticing me. Do I notice them just like both of their eyes or heads turn towards me as they
Yeah,
watch me
basically, you
walk
can just
away?
tell that they're because they're not wearing helms. You can just tell that
Mm,
they're just
they
like
see me.
looking at you. Yeah.
Okay, I'm just gonna walk up the stairs.
Cool. You start walking up, and at this point of the in the tower, this is probably I'm just gonna say canonically, this is your first time in the tower. I don't
Oh,
know, even as
dang
good
it.
of friends as you were with Weaver, unless do you
Mhm.
think you would have been invited into
I think I would have helped Weaver sneak out of her room every once in a while, but not necessarily been inside of her room.
Okay, yeah, so I'll say you've been in the tower, but not in the room
Mhm.
itself. So, but I mean, you have
Yeah.
like a general idea of where it is.
Mhm.
You walk in, and it is like a central floor for when you first walk into this tower, and then a staircase that leads upstairs where the king and queen's room is, to Weaver's room, as well as some like other random rooms that you haven't been to. And you just notice as you start making your way upstairs, just portraits of Weaver's family over the generations. People that you kind of have heard of and seen before, a lot of paintings of, people that no clue who they are. You just know that there's someone in her ancestry.
Mhm.
But you make your way to
Amazing.
the top part of the tower, or one of like the top parts of it, and you basically have 2 small hallways that either lead to the left or the right.
Perfect. 2 small hallways to the left or the right. Based off of the pictures, which side of the hallway? Are there just pictures on each side?
You add both sides, yeah.
Okay. Pattern recognition. As I'm walking, are we getting younger on one side or older on one side? What
You
is
do notice that the ones on the left seem to be older.
the one on the left side is older?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to hang a right.
Okay.
Okay.
It's fine. Yeah.
That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna hang a right.
Nothing can go wrong.
I'm gonna go right.
You start walking over there. As you start walking down this hallway, you do notice older sets of armor that seem to be hanging almost like in decoration are lined up. There's collectively in this small hallway, there's 4 pieces of armor.
Mhm.
And then you could tell like some of them are like similar to the armor that you're wearing currently. And the other pieces look just a lot older. They seem
Mhm.
to be just more like ancient armor.
Cool.
And then you start making your way there. And then at the end of this hallway, there are 3 doors, left, center, and the right. The one directly ahead of you is open, and it seems to lead into a washroom or like a bathroom of some kind.
Perfect.
And the ones on the left and the right are closed.
Ones on left and right are closed. I'm gonna head straight into the washroom,
Okay.
and I'm going to. Okay. Are there any what look like house servant clothing in here? Costume change.
I'm gonna say no,
Okay. Okay.
just because I don't think it would make sense for.
Okay. Are there any? Okay, not servant clothes. Oh man. Based off of what I saw, is my current garb underneath the armor? Does that look like do I look out of place if I were to take off my armor?
Go ahead and roll. Go ahead and roll an intelligence check for me.
Intelligence check. Am I a smart boy? No.
It's not a -1.
It's not a -1, that's for sure. Oh, I rolled an 18, got an 18.
Yes, but so do the garbs underneath your armor put you out of place? Yes. Does a guard being up here unattended look out of place? Yes.
Perfect. I'm going to get out of the armor.
Cool.
And I'm gonna hide it in one of hopefully it all fits in a basket.
Yeah, you notice, and like this seems to be like a personal bathroom. It's just a very large bathroom.
Oh, okay. It's somebody else's bathroom. Is there a
Yeah,
window?
yes, there is.
Perfect. Outside the window, is it facing the coronation or is it facing away from the coronation?
Where it is facing, because it was directly ahead, it is as you look out towards the right, you notice that a lot of the seating is over there.
Oh, so if I look out the window to the right, that's the center of the upper ring.
Correct.
Perfect. I'm going to. Oh no.
So all the fans
Oh,
out there, I
no.
know I'm giving you a
I
lot of
know.
directions. You guys are
No,
doing
you're
great.
good. You're good. We are all theater of the mind. I am going to get out of the window and
Okay.
I'm going to make this my new perch until the coronation begins.
Cool. And yeah, and like you are, and like the way that it's set up, as you're now taking like a moment to pause there, as you walk in, like again, it's like this huge washroom. You close to the window because it's not like a full floor to ceiling window. It's probably for your height, it's probably like about head height perfectly. So the
Right.
window is about like 5 or 6 feet up, more I think to let light in. But as you're looking around, there is a tub, like this beautiful like porcelain tub, gold faucets, like things like that nearby. But there is this those like it's not a door or a stall towards it, but there is kind of like those like bamboo dividers
Yeah.
that you can tell are movable for like privacy reasons and things like that.
Okay. So as I see that, I'm gonna stop trying to get out of the window. I'm going to instead hide behind. I'm gonna hide
Yeah.
behind one of the partitions.
Yeah, and you can even position it just in a way that it's off to the side, but it's not like, just blatantly just
Yeah.
up. And you're able to just kind of hide and you are just listening in.
Perfect. My heartbeat is beating so fast.
And then at this point too, like where you are, it is the highest point before you get to like the top of the tower. So there is one level above where you are currently. And
Mm.
so you're high up, but you're not at the highest point of the tower.
Cool. So it's safe to assume I'm not at Weaver's room yet.
You don't know.
Okay.
Cool. You wait for like what feels like an ungodly amount of time. Pierce, you're just like, you and your mom are just like, it's not terribly hot, but you guys are just in the sun where you are. Val, you are in this place of like beautiful shade,
Or
but just
shade
amongst like,
sheet.
yeah, the shade sheet. That's the we're gonna have arcane brands out here, y'all. But you guys are just waiting at this point as there's like a buzz. It's minutes leading into the coronation. Where Buka is, as you're kind of hiding behind this partition, you suddenly start to hear like armor, like the sound of armor as guards are walking like towards your direction. And you feel like this moment of cold sweat as you're, oh no, I've been found. They know where I'm at. Like they're coming here. And would Buka look or no?
No, I think Buka shrinks into a tighter fetal position than he already was in
Yeah.
and almost closes his eyes.
Yeah. Yeah. You close your eyes and you start to hear the sound of armor and guards nearby. There's a door that opens and some movement, and then the sound of armor goes away. So it sounds like it stopped right at the end of the hallway where the doors are.
Yeah. I let out a single tear. I'm so scared.
Do you start to look?
I think now that I know the footsteps have moved away, I take a peek.
Yeah. And you wait a few minutes, just enough that you feel calm enough to go and look. You look around the partition and you see nobody. You see the hallway is empty once again. And then as you start to kind of like think about where the sound ended right at those doors.
Perfect. They came to one of the rooms. Awesome.
Mhm.
I'm going to sneak out of the washroom and I'm going to put an ear up to the room as I'm leaving the bathroom, the room to my left.
You put your ear to the door on the left. Don't hear anything.
I'm going to peek through the keyhole.
You peek through. You can't see through it.
Dang it. You're supposed to let me see through the keyhole.
Do you attempt to?
No, I'm going to go listen to the other door first. I'm so scared.
Yeah, you go put your right ear to the door that's now on your right, and you hear no sounds.
Oh no. Okay, I'm gonna use my claw and pick the door. Oh, actually, do I hear noises outside of like the coronation? Anything stirring with the coronation at all?
You hear the sound of movement on the floor above you.
Oh, perfect.
Like, because like there's still a sound of commotion outside. Like that sound hasn't stopped. So it sounds about the same, but you start to hear as they're going up. It's what sounds like a staircase.
Perfect. I'm gonna open. Yeah, I'm gonna go for the door that's on my right.
Cool. You go and go for the handle, and it's open.
Oh, hello. And I open the door a little bit.
It opens. No sound. It is like a perfectly made door in this perfectly made tower, and you walk in to what is one of if not the largest room you have ever seen, and it's broken down into two sections. This first section looks almost like an apartment living room, and it's like a pretty decently sized, as you notice that there is these very comfortable looking blue and gray couches, these like large wooden table that looks like honestly just like a coffee table. As you notice, there's like genuinely just like books and scrolls laid out there. And as you start looking over to the right leads kind of like the next part of the room, and it seems to lead, it's open, there's no like a doorway that leads over there, but it's you're at one level and then there's a step up and it leads into that next part, and it looks like a bedroom.
We love an open concept. I'm going to I'm gonna see if I can find out whose room this is.
As you start looking around, go ahead and roll a perception for me.
Perception.
As you're trying to figure out whose room this could be.
15.
15. You start looking around and you're looking at this living room area. There's nothing really that indicates it. As you start making your way towards the actual bedroom part of it, there is this desk that seems to have books and scrolls as well as some like written letters. And you notice that there's like a series of 3 or 4 letters that this individual seems to be like writing towards people. and they seem to be thank you notes or thank you cards in thank you for, and you see written down like, thank you so much for making the time and the travel to come to the coronation of the nation of Numire. It has been a great pleasure, and I look forward to all future relations with. And you see like different names of different like dignitaries of different nations and things like that. And 3 out of like the 5 seem to be like finished, and you just see at the bottom Weaver Storm Song.
Yes. Bucca peas because he's no longer nervous. Okay. We are in Weaver's room. Oh, I'm in a girl's room. This is crazy. Okay.
Okay, furry.
This has never happened before in my life. What am I gonna do? Okay. Okay. I'm going to pause. I'm going to stop. Like, if I was touching anything, I'm going to not be touching anything anymore.
Cool.
I'm going to freeze. I'm going to peek around for where, like, a jewelry case, a jewelry box. Look towards the wardrobe, anywhere over there. Gosh, if anybody walks in on me in Weaver's wardrobe, I'm going to be pissed.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Go ahead and roll an investigation check.
Okay. You would choose investigation.
You're looking for something.
It makes sense. 15.
15. You are looking around, and I'll say with this one, it's not something that's quite hidden, because you do see on top of like one of the like armoires, there is what seems to be like there's more than one, but like jewelry boxes.
Okay.
So
Dang it. I'm going to spend the next minute slowly opening these jewelry boxes.
yeah, and you could tell some of them are either just open by themselves. Some of them seem to have like latches that you kind of have to like just clip to open. And as you start looking, you see some adornments of like rings and bracelets, different kinds of chains.
Mm-hmm.
But then as you're looking in one of the jewelry boxes, you open it up. It has like these clips, opens up, and you notice this circlet that contains these small sapphires inlaid along this beautiful silver circlet. It's probably, just would fit on a head, but it's very thin, and you can tell it's been like crafted and like pounded into like a very thin, very like immaculately made circlet. And it looks like the one that Hecken had in the drawing he gave you.
Amazing. I'm just going to go ahead and assume this is it. I'm going to take it. I'm going to put the jewelry boxes all back the way that I found it, hopefully. And I'm going to start making my way out of the room.
As you lift it out of the box, an explosion shakes the castle where you're in. For everybody outside, beautiful fireworks have taken place as you start to hear trumpets start to make this beautiful sound as it's the beginning of the coronation. It's finally midday.
Oh my goodness.
Middle of the day, sun is directly above you guys. Beautiful day as you start to hear kind of like cheers and clapping from the top ring where you guys are at, but you guys can also hear like roars and cheers from the people outside, as well as they're excited for this monumentous event, something that doesn't happen quite all the time. And for Val and for Pierce, you guys have like perfect viewing as you look up towards like the top part of the tower. And the first people that came out were like these trumpeteers that just were doing heralding and announcement. And then afterwards, 4 guards walk out, and then directly behind them are the current king and queen, Weaver's parents, roll out, and you start to hear even louder clapping and cheering as they go through like this event, as well as you see this like old wizened, looks to be like a wizard, like a priest. It's kind of hard to tell, but he's wearing these blue and gray robes that seem to like be so much larger than this man is, and he's just carrying around like a staff, but he walks forward with Weaver's parents. Cheers are happening, and the king is the one that steps forward and waits for like the applause to finally end, and you hear him, and it seems to be like magically amplified, because even though he's like 30-40 feet away, it sounds like there's something that's kind of conducing his voice to like be a little bit louder. And you hear him say, "Thank you so much, everybody, for being gathered here today on this monumentous occasion. It brings me great pleasure to see friends and allies, companions from many travels and many years of the kingdom of Numire, and in the relationships that we have with all of you wonderful people. and the people of Numire and the people of Alcor. We come gathered here today to celebrate the coronation of your new queen, my daughter Weaver. And there's cheers and applause and clapping that happens. Waits for that to die down. And then he continues. On a day like today, it brings me great honor to just know that the kingdom of Numire lies in the hands and the crown on the head of one of the most capable people that I know. Someone that I've had the opportunity and chance to see from the moment she was born into a young woman of great renown to this soon to be queen. Someone that I know will lead Alcor and Numire into another following generation of plenty. Someone that has dedicated her entire life to the people of this kingdom and will continue to do so. More applause happens. He continues. And so on a day like today, it brings me great joy because after today, me and my wife, we can finally rest and take a nap. And there's like polite, like laughing as that happens. And so everyone, please do me the great honor of welcoming your soon to be queen, Weaver Stormsong. And then there's just like clapping as that happens.
Random.
Yeah. Bucca, you hear like this happening as you grab the circlet.
Perfect. Right after I recover from almost dropping the circlet from surprise, I'm going to use the cover of the applause and the magically enhanced speech of the king to run back into the washroom. I'm gonna is it called doff or don? I'm gonna don. Yeah. I'm gonna don the armor again. And with the towels that I used to stuff underneath my chest plate, I'm gonna tuck the circlet in between some of those. Yeah. And then to hide it in the plate, I'm nervous as all heck. I put the helmet back on and I'm going to plan my escape, I guess. I'm gonna wait to see how the rest of the coronation goes.
Do you stay upstairs or do you start to make your way downstairs?
Can I peek out the window to see where everybody's attention is? Is it spatially? Can I tell if their attention is still turned towards the direction of the staircase in any way?
Are you looking from the bathroom or from the bedroom?
Is the bedroom facing the like inwards on the inner circle? Can I sneak back into the bedroom?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, you know it's unlocked. So you go in and you can see everyone's eyesights. At first, you think that they're looking towards the window, but then you realize that they're looking above you, and then that's where the sound of like the speaking seems to be emanating from.
So when all the guards and stuff went upstairs, they stayed up there. They didn't come back down.
It seems like that. You haven't gone to check the other hallway or gone down it yet, but
okay, sweet. I'm going to make my way downtown, walking past the faces of the other sets of armor, and I'm gonna try to go home.
Yeah. Do you go downstairs?
I peeked down the stairs.
Yeah. Go ahead and make a perception check for me.
17.
17. You look down a hallway where you're at. You don't see anybody. You start looking downstairs and don't see anybody as light from the outside is kind of brought in, but you don't see any people. The only thing like you can kind of see as you start kind of like slowly stepping down, like slowly making your way down the stairs is you do see a guard that's posted by the door. And as you get a little bit closer, you can tell he's still on duty, but you can tell his attention is kind of towards the tower.
Perfect. I want to sneak by him.
Go ahead and roll a stealth check. This one, I will say, will be with disadvantage because you are wearing armor.
I'm wearing the armor. Okay, first one is a dirty 20.
Okay.
Come on. Okay. That's a 16.
16. He rolls a 9. And so he only adds a +3 to this roll. You are able to kind of like go alongside the wall. And then you're still in that courtyard area, but you kind of follow like the tower wall a little bit. And you are able to position yourself in a part of the courtyard where, at least in the meantime, you can be unspotted.
Mm-hmm. It seems an appropriate place for a guard to be posted.
Yes.
Perfect. And then I'm gonna pause. I'm gonna watch the coronation.
Cool. You have your helm on as you are watching your old friend Weaver be presented out. As you have finally made your way downstairs and in this moment of the speech, you hear clapping and cheering as you hear Weaver's dad introduce her out. She walks out wearing this like incredibly ballroom like style dress that extends out for what seems like forever. It's kind of hard to see from some of the angle where you guys are at, but covered in like beautiful like silver necklaces and chains, rings. Seems to have on a small circlet, not the one that Bucca has, but it just seems to be a very like simple and beautiful, but like just no other added decorations on it. And then she is also holding just like a staff that you guys have seen her with at some point that she like tends to carry here and there. But she walks out and this clapping and cheering happens. And this older man seems like walks towards the front and then he starts to speak. And you hear like this old man just go, "In generations long past, the nation of Numire has welcomed the new monarch with a blessing from the gods. Weaver Stormsong, please make your way towards the front." And then you see that she walks up and you see that he switches hands and then almost seems to like have his hand like out, like almost like in like a blessing of some type. And you see that the man, this old man goes on. "And so on this day, we give you the full blessing of the gods above, that they may watch and keep over your reign in this time of plenty and of peace. And may your reign continue to bring prosperity to its people." And you see there's like this like small like glow that seems to emanate from his hands. And it seems to like almost cover her and like shroud her a little bit. And then once that happens, he steps back and Weaver's dad steps forward again. And he says, "And now that the blessing has been placed, the last thing that must be done is the coronation. Weaver." And then you see Weaver looks up and you see that her dad ends up taking the crown off. And you see that one of the attendants has, it's a very cartoon, like has like the pillow, like who's holding. And so you see that he ends up putting his crown on that pillow. And another attendant comes forward having like a similar design, but seems to be like shaped towards more like towards Weaver's head. And you see that her dad ends up grabbing it and looks over and just is just saying, "And Weaver, and with this, I present to you all your new Queen of Numire." And as he places the crown on her head, and fireworks, beautiful ornaments of like blue and purple, gold and silver, as it fully covers like the sky. As all this like cheering and clapping start to happen, the castle like just shakes with all the fireworks that have happened. Everyone, go ahead and roll me perception checks.
Group perception check.
Ooh.
15?
15.
I got a 19. Rolled a 19. Got a 19.
Perception rolls are so funny.
Himbo!
I got a 6.
A 6. I think at this point, Bucca is just very focused on not being caught. With a 15 and a 19, you guys feel the ground shaking. The ground is shaking partially from the fireworks themselves, but you feel there's some additional rumbling that seems to happen as the fireworks die away. The rumbling doesn't quite stop. And at this point, like as people stop clapping and cheering, you see that they all kind of start looking uncomfortably like at each other as the shaking continues. And then you see this crack starts to form at the base of the tower. And then I'll say, especially because Pierce got that 19, you notice the crack starts to form and then it quickly starts spreading up. And as it starts forming up, it goes all the way towards the top where the coronation itself is taking place. And that platform where they're standing on suddenly boom, shifts as it cracks and doesn't quite fall, but you can tell is on a precarious position. And then all of a sudden you hear like screaming and yelling because you guys were in that seating arrangement part of it. Val and Pierce, you guys look back and you guys just see some of like the guards have pulled swords and have struck down some of the attendants. Screaming and yelling is happening. And then all of a sudden you guys see this like arcane, almost looks like fire erupts from like somewhere behind you guys and then strikes the tower. And you see that it like shakes again and again doesn't quite fall, but falls even like further down as you see Weaver and her parents and all the attendants up there suddenly like fall to the ground. What do you guys like to do?
Yeah. Can I see Helena?
Yes.
What has she done at this point?
You can tell she immediately has already pulled out her sword. And then you see that she is looking up towards the tower and then looking towards the guards that seem to have like lost their mind and are like, striking down people.
I want to exit my seat and head directly towards her, making sure I'm coming at like I guess an angle or a direction that she can see me coming, so I'm not a surprise to her. as soon as I see like that she kind of sees me either from the corner of her eye or blatantly, I just like I yell like, "Hey, let me help."
You see, as soon as you start running over, she looks at you, has her sword, points towards the guards that seem to be like striking people down, and you notice it's 3 guards. And you said, "Stop them."
All right, I'm on it.
Cool. We're gonna resolve this in a second. Val, what do you want to do?
Does Val sees the people in the back just striking random people down, right? The guards.
Yes.
Do any of the guards have a bow?
Go ahead and make a perception check. Go ahead and do it with advantage because at this point you've already been sitting for like an hour.
23, and we're gonna stick with the 23.
You see that one of the guards, specifically underneath where that platform area seems to be, at this point, like large chunks of rock from the tower themselves have come down. And I'll say that one of them has like landed on one of the guards, and he doesn't seem to be dead, but he seems to be like passed out. You don't see like any crazy amount of like blood or anything pooling, but you see he's like knocked out, and in his hand, like a little bit away from his hand, is like a bow.
Hey, I'm gonna borrow this for a sec. Thanks.
Cool.
And then
You run over.
Yeah.
Bucca, what are we doing?
Bucca finds a crack in the wall and hides.
Cool. I need everybody to roll initiative.